Okay. Hey, welcome back. As you know, this is called Aligning with Success, and I'm your host, Mike DiMuccio. And for those of you watching the playback, so I do have some things I want to cover tonight. It is January 29th, I think. So we've got today is 3 days left in the month. So if you're not already promoting the specials, the filter cartridge replacements, that's something to do, especially as we wind down the month. We are at month end. So I'm going to come back to that. What I wanted to talk about first and foremost was there was a few calls back. We talked about decisions, or excuse me, we talked about goal setting and goals. And we talked about how important it is to set goals as a leader, and the goal of the reason we do that is to become the person who strives to achieve that. It's the person we become in the process. But I want to borrow a page from Bob Proctor and my daughter, who reminded me of this this week. And I'm not sure who is calling in from the 540 area code, but I'm going to put you on mute because it does come in and out the static. If you want to unmute later.
I'm Holly Frisch, and I think the problem is that I have an air purifier going.
Okay. Well, I'm going to mute you. You can unmute yourself later if you have any comments that you want to make.
Okay.
All right. So the idea of first and foremost is to convert our goal into a decision. Now, many of you know that one of the things that I spent a lot of time with was being an understudy of Bob Proctor and the materials that coincide with everything he teaches, and even the origins of those materials, going all the way back to the turn of the century, the 1900s. Thomas Troward was one of the first authors of this movement. And what essentially they did was they gave us, as does my favorite Neville in this book, The Power of Awareness, they give us the understanding of Scripture and the implication of it in the context of science, or the laws, if you will. And there's a clear understanding in the alchemy of creation that when we make a decision, when we actually go from wishful thinking, which is really what a goal is for the most part for most people, it's just, oh, I would really like to achieve this. This is what I would like to achieve. So when we do goal setting exercise, it's usually somebody's wish list. It's not a commitment. Rarely is it ever a commitment. And it's almost never a decision, except for thought leaders or people who are really into goal achievement. So we've got to move from being somebody who's a wishful thinker to a person who actually can lead themselves before you're going to ever lead anybody. And that means you move from wishful thinking, which is wishy-washy, hocus pocus, to I actually get things done when I make a decision to get things done. We move from the goal to the decision. When we do that, the laws tell us that we engage a new frequency. The second we make a decision to actually achieve something or to attract something, we move into an alternate frequency, an altered state of thinking, a different condition, which now allows us access to information that we could not access until the decision was made. Until an actual committed decision is made, you don't get access to the mechanisms to make that decision possible, to make that decision a reality. So if you want to get results, you've got to convert the goal, which is more of a wishful thought, into a committed decision to actually achieve it. So we got to turn our goals into decisions. We don't set goals for the sake of setting goals. We set goals to define what it is we want to achieve, and then we commit to them by way of making a decision to get it done. When we do that, we fulfill the first condition of three conditions that are necessary in order for the law to take effect. So here it is in a nutshell, guys, the entire keys to the kingdom, if you will, the synthesis of everything that I've ever studied over 30 plus years in the alchemy of creation. Understand that the laws are exact. We didn't create them. We just live in them, with them. And so there's one I'm demonstrating right now. Can anybody guess what law this is?
Try. Gravity.
Yeah. So it's a physical law that we experience gravity. Now, does gravity care? Does this law care if you're a good person or a bad person?
No.
So it's not dependent on the nature of your being. Does it care if you're a rich person or a poor person?
No.
No. So it doesn't matter what your status is. Does it matter what you do for a living or what piece of paper you got hanging on your wall? In other words, the law is independent. It doesn't have that association to us and our persona. But it is a law nonetheless, and you will experience that law, good or bad, rich or poor, in a good way or in a bad way. And so we'll get to that in a moment. So the law is exact. The idea of the law is to understand the law and to apply the law. Now, if we understand the law of gravity, we can apply it to our benefit. For instance, we can create hydroelectric power, which allows water to fall and then turn turbines, which can generate power. But if we don't or we can actually use the law to figure out how to create lift and actually fly in the experience of gravity. So understanding the law is critical if you want to apply the law conscientiously. Most people are unconscious of the laws that are at work in their life. And they go and study theology, and then they think, well, God is some supernatural power that bestows upon some people good stuff and bestows upon other people bad stuff, because God's sitting there judging and condemning every movement you make, every action, and so forth. That's not how it works. God created this law. It's the law of the universe, and there are many laws of universe that are reported in the good scriptures. But your ignorance of the law doesn't change the fact that you're subjected to it. So, for instance, if you are ignorant of the law of gravity, you might decide to step off a 10-story building to your detriment. The law is not being judgmental. The law is just simply expressing itself, and you are in alignment with that law only in a way that's detrimental. And so the law of attraction is exactly the same thing. You could be unconscious of it, but it's still having an impact on the outcome in your life. And so an understanding of that law is critical if you want to actually attract the things that you want to attract into your life. And as I mentioned earlier, setting a goal is insufficient to invoke the law. It's not because you set a goal that you are now going to attract what you're looking for. There are other components. And I'm going to give you the three major components. The first one we've already discussed. We've got to turn the goal into a decision. Until then, we have not shifted our frequency. And until we shift our frequency, we cannot see or gain access to the means to achieving our goal. So it's critical that you make a decision to achieve the goal if you want to attract or gain access to the means to actually achieve it. Now, there's a biblical passage, to them, and I'm going to say it loosely translated, to them that have, more will be given unto them, but to them that have not, more will be taken from them. You might think, what kind of a God would take away from people who don't have and give to people who have? Well, like I said, that doesn't actually happen. There is no such God that would do such a thing. The law is what's being communicated here. To those who have prosperity consciousness, who have, more will be given unto them by the law of attraction. To those who have scarcity consciousness, who have not, more will be taken from them according to the same law of attraction. It's simply a law. It doesn't care whether you're good or bad, moral or immoral, rich or poor. It's simply a law. So what does it mean to those who have versus to the have-nots? Besides the actual results that we're experiencing, it's a state of mind. It's a state of being. So when you set a goal to achieve something, to have something, are you actually in the state of mind of someone who's achieved it? Or are you in the state of mind who has not achieved it? Think about it. So the second you set the goal, I want to achieve something, you're acknowledging that you're not in possession of that thing. You've created the tension, which is important. That's the to them that have not and to them that have. There's somebody that has achieved that goal, and there are those that have not. So those two states of being are actually now possible, the have not and the have of that goal, whatever that goal is. How do we get to the point where we move in the direction of the have? Well, if the Bible says, to them that have more will be given, and to them that have not more will be taken away, we have to do something other than imagine that goal. We have to do the thing that we're talking about now. Step one is make a decision to achieve the goal. So number one, we make a decision that it's not something I want to have, but it's something that I'm absolutely going to have. I'm getting this done. And I'm not going to change my mind about it, because otherwise then I haven't really made a committed decision. So the first rule of a committed decision is there's no alternative. You commit and that's it. You cut off you burn all the boats, you cut off all the other possibilities. So that's one. We decide. That shifts our frequency. Now we're in the space of possibility to attract all the pieces that are necessary for that goal to actually be made manifest. The second condition, to those that have, more will be given. So that means you have to not only identify what it is you want, but you actually have to act as though you already have it. So you've got to actually think about this for a second. Put yourself in the moment. I like to think of it, I like to think of a post moment. I take my instructions from Neville, who says, don't think about the actual moment you achieve it. Think about something that would happen only because you achieved it. Go to that moment. So maybe it's the day after, maybe it's the recognition that you see somehow, somewhere, wherever it comes from. Go to a moment that would be true had the goal been achieved. Then ask yourself, if I am in possession of that goal, having achieved it in that moment, how would I act? How would I feel? How would I act? And actually write it down. Now, we've all achieved a goal. We've all done this in our past. Maybe it was a test, an exam, or how many of you got your driver's license? So at some point in time, we've all experienced a success from something that we put ourselves out for. We made a decision we were doing this. We did what we had to do. We gained access to whatever we needed to gain access to, a car, an instructor, whatever. And then we go for our test and we succeed, whether it was the first, second, third, doesn't matter. But you did it. What's the feeling associated with the achievement? What's the nature of you associated with having achieved the objective? Any thoughts? Does anybody have some things you want to throw out at me? Give me a few. What does it feel like? How would you be acting if you have the achievement?
Jubilant.
Jubilant. Okay, so happy, jubilant. That's a good word.
Extremely confident.
Ah, there's the word I was looking for. Really
There it is.
confident, right? Yeah, you'd be happy, you'd be confident. What else? Anything else?
Bold. Yeah.
Proud.
Proud. So there'd be a sense of pride.
Motivated.
You'd be motivated. Would you be motivated because actually you've achieved the goal? Motivation usually comes from going for another goal. So maybe
That's- yes.
you would be motivated to
Keep
set another
going.
goal, right?
Do
To keep
more,
going.
right.
Yeah, that
Keep
that came up.
going.
So you would contemplate maybe the next step. That's how you'd be contemplative of what's next. Okay, I want you to write these things down. This is real important.
Well, in our business, Mike, too, there's, well, I think what they might have been wanting to say with motivated is momentum. Because once you've got that momentum going, there's that excitement, there's that, just, it's just amazing. And it almost takes away from you. People are calling in, things are happening, and it just keeps going. And it's just amazing. The people that
We're talking about a moment, not a span
Okay,
of
the
time,
moment.
but a moment. Would you feel fear?
A little
No.
bit.
Would you? Would you feel fear?
No.
No. You would not be
No.
in fear. You would be in
Excitement.
completely.
You'd be
Okay,
exhilarated.
Yeah, exhilarated, confident. Would you feel stress?
No.
No anxiety, no stress. Okay. Would you feel a sense of relief?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In fact, that's one of the first emotions you get when you really strive to achieve something and you achieve it. Okay. All right. We've got contemplative of the next goal, happy, jubilant. What was the word? Jubilant.
Jubilant.
Jubilant. You would have relief, no stress, confident, no fear, pride, a sense of pride, and motivated to carry on. Now, if those are the real truths, if that's how you would actually feel energetically, and how you would communicate that would be through your body language, through your vocal tones, through your physiology and so forth, then your attitude. If that's how you would feel having had achieved the goal, so you're the have person, not the have not person. And the rules are, to them that have, more will be given. To them that have not, more will be taken. So what's the state of being that you must be in if you want to be given?
Have.
In the have. So all these things you've just described is how you need to be acting if you were acting as if you had already achieved the goal. Now consider this. If you set a goal to this year or this month or this quarter, what are the first feelings that you have?
Jubilation.
When you
have
set
to
a
have
goal?
it.
Oh, wait. That's what we have to have if we want to achieve the goal. But what is the actual truth? The moment you set a goal,
Fear.
Fear, sometimes fear.
It's all the other things. It's all the
It's like,
have
oh my
not.
gosh.
It's all the have not emotions and feelings that you're feeling. Now, what is your tendency going into the day, the week, the month? Is your tendency to be expressing the have not emotions and feelings and actions, or the have? And by the way,
They have nots.
your actions give it away. Your actions give it away. If you have not been making phone calls, if you have not been prospecting people, if you've been not, that gives it away, what you've been in, the state of mind you've been in. It's the have not state of mind. And then, of course, the consequences of that are what they are. You have not, and you lose momentum. More will be taken away. So, two things that we've talked about. You've got to turn your goal into a decision. It has to be a committed decision. Otherwise, it's just a wishful thought, which means you're not saying, I wish to achieve something, I want to achieve something, I hope to achieve something. It is, I am achieving that thing. End of story. 2, then you switch into acting as if you've already achieved it, and holding that space and that frame of mind, regardless of circumstances. Now, that, if we really think about this, how many people have the mental and emotional maturity to hold that frequency in spite of circumstances?
Yeah.
2-year-olds do.
As a matter of fact, yeah, that's
Kids.
why it says you have to come to me as a child.
Yes.
Why? Because a child doesn't have that kind of judgment, doesn't hold on to resentment, is open to forgiveness, is open to letting go of the past. So this is really important understanding, okay?
They have more and they expect more.
Yeah, they have more, they expect more. Barbara, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I do. What was interesting, talking about Bob Proctor and what we got, I remember leaving money on the table going from Diamond to Royal Diamond. And and he said that you've got to be able to step into a vision, like ownership of what your life is going to be like with that extra. It was $45,000 extra a month, guys. It was not anything it was like, we got to get to work. We got to get this. It was amazing what we all of a sudden were leaving on the table. And so there was this automatic incentive. And so there was a couple of things I did, and I like tips and techniques, Mike. And so there was this Om Mani Padme Hum is a chant that you can do 9 times. And when you open your door or hear sound, I would say that chant, but at the same time, close my eyes and visualize my life with $50,000 more a month. How would my life change? Guys, how would your life change if your check was all of a sudden $10,000 or $5,000? How would your life be altered? Close your eyes, visualize that, and see how you feel. What's your posture? What's your, who are you talking with? Where are you traveling? Where do you live? Where do you give back? Where do you play? What arenas do you play in? Oh, I got goosebumps. And then he would say, to really own that. But I had sounds, guys, on my the old washing machine that opened up this way. I had this little bitty chime, and I would chime there. I would chime in at the front door. I would chime when you open your front door, when you open your car door, ding, 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 ding. That's a chime. I would stop everything, do my 9 times Om Mani Padme Hum, and visualize my team, everybody going from the gold to platinum to diamond, seeing their life change because all of a sudden they got more money coming in, just this whole ball of excitement. And like what we said, what was it? Jubilant, confident, all that going on at the same time. And the new people, and where am I playing, and where am I contributing to, and owning that feeling throughout my entire body. And then it could become a reality. The only thing we don't have really lined up is when, but it doesn't matter as long as we line up, then everything else is going to come into play. But that feeling of where you play and what arena, what car are you driving, what kind of food are you eating, like where are you dining, what do you do, like tremendous, Mike. It's just tremendous. So
in other words, thank you for that. In other words, your vision and your commitment to that vision by stepping into it, by actually putting it on, that feeling, that the wearing of that identity, that new identity, the person who has, informs your actions. It informs the way you express. Now, if you are standing in front of an audience or a prospect or a contact list, with that being informed by that energy, how do you think you would be received on the other end of that phone call or that appointment? Versus the person who goes into that appointment in the have not. I have a goal, but I'm living in the have not of that goal. How does that inform the contact, the appointment, the person on the receiving end of that. You can see very clearly one would be repulsive and the other one would be attractive. In other words, you create a result, and that result would be an expression of the state of being you're in. And what's really interesting about that is you would be very detached. Energetically, you'd be very detached from the outcome of that conversation if you were already living in the have state, because you already have it, regardless of what this person decides. So that informs the person that you don't need them. There's a subtle information that's being communicated that I'd love you, but I don't need you. I'm not throwing an attachment. There's no string associated with this communication. You like it, you don't, which allows that person to then freely explore what's being offered. They don't have that sixth sense telling them what's the catch. So we're talking about two things so far. We convert the goal into a decision, a committed decision. Then we get in touch with what it feels like to be living that consequence. Really get in touch with it. I mean, this may not be a 1-minute exercise. This might be the next week of your life exercise, morning, afternoon, and evening, so that you can get fully involved in that storyline. A good actor is somebody who can really put himself in the position, in the clothes, in the shoes of the person who's. There's a series I'm absolutely in love with called The Chosen, and the actor who plays Jesus in this role, Jonathan Rumi, I swear he is channeling Jesus. He is so good. He is so convincing, so compelling. I get goosebumps watching this guy on a television. That's telling you something. Like, this guy is really emanating and emulating the essence of this person. That's how you want to be. You want to be somebody who is emulating the essence of the person who has the wish fulfilled. That's the second part. And now the third part, the last part. There's only 3 parts to manifesting anything you want. The third part is trust in the law. Another way of saying that is trust in God, because it's God's law. And another way of saying all of that is have faith, which is really a synonym for trust in God or trust in the law. In other words, this pen, it's easy for me to have trust that this pen's going to fall. And I can give this pen to any one of you on this call, and I'll bet you if you do this 100% of the time, it's going to do exactly what it's doing. It's going to fall from your hands as well. In other words, the law is the law, and it applies to all of us exactly the same way. I trust that implicitly, but I also trust in the other laws. There's many other laws at work in our physical reality. You know, we can get a person on the moon and time their landing within seconds. Those are laws. We understand many of these laws. Well, one of these laws that I think is operating 100% full-time in our life, and it's always 100% on the money, is the law of attraction or manifestation. We are experiencing the sum total of what we've just talked about. The haves versus the have-nots is not a problem associated with politics. It's not. Politics is the manifestation of the mental condition of the world. What you're seeing in politics play out is a mental condition that's happening. It's a reflection of the mental condition. And it's not the other way around. So when we start to understand and start to apply this, we can create a bubble within the environment. There are people getting more successful financially of all walks of life in this current downturned economy than in upturned economies. How can you explain this? If it was true that the economy affects your life and your outcomes, then it would be true for everyone, and it's not. But what is true is that everyone is creating their own reality according to their perception and their awareness of what they're doing. And some people are keenly aware of success in 2024. Some people are very keenly aware of having a big month in January. Some people are keenly aware that this is the best time to be alive in the history of man. Who are these people? How do they come to that conclusion? Does it really matter? Wouldn't you want to be one of these people? Would you want to wake up in the morning, tomorrow morning, as a person who feels that this is the best time to be alive as a human being in the history of man? How would that inform your body? How would that inform your family? How would that inform your friends? How would that inform your colleagues? How would that inform your prospects? How would that inform your actions, your behavior? I mean, honestly, think about this. We're either operating on autopilot, which is the have-not state for most people, instead of being the co-creator gods that we were intended to be by the creator who created us in his likeness and image, and manifest and create accordingly to the power endowed with us. We're operating at sub-zero levels instead of what we're meant to be operating at as conscious co-creators. So the goals that you may have set for yourself, you may think are big, you may think they're medium, you may think they're small. I can assure you they're infinitesimally small compared to what you're capable of. They don't even register on the Richter scale. And you're making a mountain out of it because you're operating from the have-not. And so the first thing we have to identify in order to accept and acknowledge that this truth is a truth is you have to identify your role in creation. If you don't have a connection to that understanding, then you're going to feel like there's nothing you can do to change anything. You're going to hear these words, it sounds great, it appeals to your conscious mind, but you're not going to actually apply it until you understand who you really are and why you're really here. If you think you're here to suffer, then suffer you will. If you're here to have fun, then have fun you will. My son sends me a video today and he strums out a few chords on a guitar. This is his second day learning. He says, I think by the end of the week, I'll be able to play my song. He's self-teaching himself how to play guitar. This guy has no limits. So you can be that guy waking up in the morning saying, I think I'm going to learn how to play guitar so I can sing and play guitar when I'm singing. Who decided to start a YouTube channel singing January 2nd, I think it was, with a goal to hit 100,000 followers by the end of January. He hit it yesterday. Does this guy know how to create? Or is he a have-not guy? See what I mean?
Well, look at his example, Mike.
Barbara, I've been an example for every one of you on this call for years.
But they're living it, breathing it, day
Yes.
in and day out.
So
you
what's
know,
the
like,
difference
it's-
between them who are living it and breathing it day in, day out, and you?
You gotta
What's the
wanna.
difference?
You gotta wanna.
You gotta make a committed decision.
Yeah.
That's the difference. They make a decision to do something, they do it. They don't talk about it. They don't need anybody's permission or approval.
Gotta be hungry.
From the famous words of Les Brown, you
Les
gotta be hungry. Yes, that helps. And they are motivated, but that doesn't stop people from not making it. That doesn't cause people to make a decision exclusively. There are motivated people. I know people who are motivated to have money or to have more money, but they're not doing what I'm talking about. They're not following the steps necessary to go from the have-not to the have. Everybody wants to be rich and famous. Maybe not famous, but everybody wants to be comfortable. Everybody wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be stress-free, right? Everybody wants to be healthy. Well, why statistically is this not happening? Because people have a mental disorder. They have allowed themselves to be subjugated by an infusion of information that is the fly in the ointment of the truth, that you are somehow lesser than someone else, that you are somehow not capable of your full potential, that you are somehow not worthy of the greatness that God made you with and intended you to be. So there's a fly in the ointment of the operating system that's conditioned you to not have the idea to just set a goal, make a decision, and have it done. It comes right down to you making a conscious choice, not relying on the momentum of what is, but
And
actually
allowing distractions to get in the way.
even that. What do you allow in? Who do you allow in to your condition, your mental space? Who do you allow to influence you? You know, like one of the first things I stopped doing when I decided to have the life that I wanted was listening to the news. That was one of the first things I stopped doing, and I started reading information that was related to what I wanted to see and experience in my life. Now, imagine, I'm a baby boomer, but I stopped listening to the noise that did not serve my purpose. It served somebody's purpose. And right now we can see they no longer are relevant. The news is all but finished. Thank freaking God for that. Because all they are is conditioning people to be hostile towards each other and not to think for themselves. But my kids are the benefactors of me being given a plan B. And the plan B was to think for myself, to set objectives for myself, to make decisions for myself, to improve on myself and be open and aware of what's being attracted by those decisions so I can recognize the wheat from the chaff. So it's a state of mind. And I'm saying we've got to think, really think about what we're thinking about, because it's not something we are actually in the habit of, and it's not something we are actually encouraged to do. No. In the world of life, in the world, the principles of success are known, but how many people are in the bubble and close enough to the bubble where they're not only hearing it, but they're actually putting it into work, putting it into practice? The beautiful thing about a business like ours is that it's an immediate feedback loop. You can quickly see if you're effective, because your business reflects it very, very quickly. You know, you don't have to go very far or very long before you start to see the impact of what I'm talking about in your business life. I mean, you could get off this phone call tonight, make a committed decision, put yourself in the frame of mind of that having been achieved, and wake up tomorrow morning to a surprise phone call. That's how crazy this is. That's the way it works. It's magic. Well, we use that word loosely because that's a word we invented to describe the effect of something we don't understand. But there's a cause and there's an effect. And the cause of creation is what we just talked about. A committed decision followed by acting as though that decision has already been fulfilled, the wish has already been fulfilled, and trusting in the process because you understand it's divine. It is the nature of the reality we are living in. So coming back to who are you, that you can be that creator, that conscientious, and can create the results that you want in your life. Who are you? Are you your parents' daughter or son? Is that all you are? Or did they just give you the DNA for the fabric of your body? Do you have a soul? Did that soul come into the body so you're not your body? Your body is the vehicle that carries the soul. Who created your soul? Did your parents create your soul? I don't think so. And if the soul came into the body, where was it before the body was there? Like I have absolutely no uncertainty about what I'm talking about. None. I know I'm a created being. I know the source of creation is one, and I'm the manifestation of that source. And I know that I've been endowed by that source to say what I'm saying and to do what I'm doing conscientiously, willfully. And so when you have that awareness of self, then you make no excuses. You accept no excuses, not from yourself, not from anyone. You just make decisions. You create a process for making decisions that are in alignment with what you want to experience next. How many of you like to watch movies? I love movies. Do you watch the same movie over and over and over and over and over, or do you watch different movies?
Both.
Most of the time, I have my favorites at Christmas, for instance, but
Sure.
most of the time we watch a new film, a new show, a new whatever, right? We like to change the channel. We like to see something new. Okay. So that's it. We just are in the process of deciding what new do you want to experience. Now, Barbara, you talked about, we're going to sort of shift gears here. It's going from a very high frequency to maybe a little bit more modest, but there is a plan for actions that we can take that help us affirm. That's the thing I'm looking for, to affirm our commitment to our decision. And I'll give you an example. Every day that you go to sleep on an Econ sleep system, you're saying to your body, I believe in the importance of sleep and regeneration. That's why I'm sleeping on this bed with this pad. Now, you may not say it out loud. You may not be thinking it consciously, but the subconscious mind is acknowledging, because the second you lie in that bed, you know you're in an Econ bed. There's an instant of, and it's like an acknowledgement. That's an affirmation. When you drink Pi Mag water, when you go to that Pi Mag unit and you push your glass up against that spigot to get water out of it, that is a conscious decision to drink clean, healthy water. You're saying, I choose clean, healthy water for my body. Okay? When you take your Nikken nutritionals, that is that one requires a little bit more conscientiousness, I think. The commitment to be regimented on your Nikken nutritionals, I know, because it's a challenge for me, but I'm getting better at it. I have an easier time putting the skincare on than I do the nutritionals. Go figure, because it's part of my after my shower ritual. But so think about that. The second you start taking your consumables, what you're saying, you're affirming that you believe in nutrition for health. You believe that your body deserves nutrition, good, reputable, healthy nutrition. It's an affirmation of health. You're saying life-sustaining, life-giving, I'm acknowledging, I'm taking in. That's an awareness. That's creating an effect. Now, there is a process that we can do in our business similarly that has a conscious and a subconscious component to it that is affirming the success of your business. We call it the rhythm of the business. It's the very thing that if I'm doing that thing, it's like the brushing of the teeth, the going to sleep, the waking up, having a healthy breakfast, and all the things that we do that affirm our healthy body, our healthy lifestyle. When we do in the business, the rhythm of the business, we are affirming our business. It's the subtleties. It's the daily that lead to the weekly, that lead to the monthly, that lead to the quarterly. Those things that you committed to on a conscious level and then execute on a subconscious level automatically, autopilot, is an affirmation of your success in business. When you are not following that, it's the have-not psychology. Because a person wouldn't do the things I'm suggesting they do unless they had a have success mentality. You wouldn't be contacting people every day, prospecting. You wouldn't be bringing them to a meeting like this one or the one tomorrow night, for instance, unless you were expecting, that's the have mentality. You're expecting success. You're expecting people to come. You wouldn't put it in your calendar. Wouldn't be in your calendar. Your Tuesday night's blocked off because of that. You know, like people who love to bowl. How do you know? They bowl. Right? That's how it looks. That's how it goes. Just Bob Proctor used to always say to me, it's easier to find out where a person's heart is. Just follow their body. So I'm suggesting something, Barbara, you can chime in on this, is that this idea of the rhythm of the business is not just a strategy. It's not just a, play on words. It's a real testament and affirmation to the kind of principles that cause success, that success ensues. They follow the condition of the mind. And if your mind is not conditioned to treat your business like a business, it will not be ever a business. You can hope and pray all day, all night. God doesn't hear you. God told you, to them that have, more will be given. To them that have not, more will be taken. So which are you?
Yeah, Mike, one of the things that you were saying is act as if you've already achieved it, to act as if. So right now, your mirror in front of you, and I have one because I have not signed up anybody this month yet, although I've qualified for platinum right now, so yay, but let me get to, signing people up and having the bonuses and the different things, right? So if that's what's out there in front of me, then that's my saboteur. I mean, Jeannie and I, we've talked about this time to time, and, it's because there's a trigger I have when I set a goal, Mike, everything in my body shuts down. And it's like, oh my God, I'm just totally frozen. Now you've shifted it for me because of the decision, but what I created with Jeannie, and I'll post another video that Temple did about vision and reframing, just reframing the past so that we don't have to keep creating the past in our future. I mean, Mike and I, we've been doing this for 28 years. You think we got to be creative? We got to recreate, right? So I actually asked him, I said, we need the process again. We need those steps. But there's one more thing that was vital and crucial. Now, I tend to, there's a little segue. I tend to play games with myself, right? The whole auto-ship game, right? I want to get 10 more auto-ships on with all these, filters and everything. I just want to create them and set them up so I never have to do that again, right? They're on monthly or they're on, annual or semi-annual. Whatever you have to do, set them up. And then the other thing was, I just totally draw a blank on the process and creating. Oh, so the saboteur. So we have that saboteur, right, that stops us. But now to break through it is vision, reframing it, and then urgency. You make it up. It's a game. I have a game with myself to get 10 more people by the end of the month, right? So I've got another week and a half, if that, to do it. Now, if I get 8, wow, I still am okay. I'm still reaching. I'm still, so I play those games with myself. Urgency. I just sat here, I'm eating my dinner, and I just sat here and I had this little video that I have a clip of myself inviting people to check out Nikan, a little bit about my story, you may have heard it before, whatever. I don't even know how you're in my phone, but you know what? Let me know what you think about this. You might be interested, you might not, but that's okay. Boom, send it off. 90 seconds. Okay, that's Richard Bliss Brooks coaching. So I'm sitting here sending those off because I'm like, you know what? If I don't, there's no activity. And then the other thing that's interesting about this, Mike, is we could be putting it out there and you say you have no attachment to the person you're sharing with because that energy out is going to come back to you, whether it's that person or not. You're going to get a call in. You're going to find somebody that says, oh, wait, you need to know something. You need to talk to my friend Barbara because she's got the answer for you. She's got all these wild things, but she might have the answer for you. And all of a sudden you get a referral from a friend. So you never know where that's coming from, but urgency is created. And it's a game, and I make it fun and fast and getting people through that process. And then there's one more with the teams that we're looking at creating and having is the friendly competition with one another. That's how we went from silver to gold. So gold, I had 3 people go silver. Then those people had a friend. I'm taking her first to platinum. No. I'm going to be the one that takes them to platinum. No, I'm going to be first, not you. And so there was this friendly competition of who's moving up to get me to that next rank. And that was just so bizarre and so wild. But it was, and then I'm in it. And my invitation to all of you guys right now is to go silver. Who's going silver this month? Who could do it? I mean, a lot of us have that already. But I mean, just reach for it. Just start planting the seeds. Okay, it might be by March 15th, or I mean, whatever. But this month, we still got a good bit of the month left. We got February, and that's thanks to the NFL that we don't just have a special for 1 month. I'm like, come on, guys, give us 2 months and let us see what we can do with it, because we've got to get it out there in the field and learn about it. But creating that urgency, Mike, I always say this to Linda and that, now clean it up.
Okay.
This is the ideas I have now.
It's good.
Take it
It's
to-
good. You're bang on. So I wanted to get back to that. You mentioned vision because it informs us. Where there is no vision, the people will perish. Another biblical passage. So there has to be vision. You have to see for yourself and others a better reality, a better future. I don't know of too many network marketing companies out there that I would have even 10% of the passion I have for Nikan. There's a lot of network marketing games. There's a lot of, I made $6 billion in 5 seconds. You can too. Well, yeah. Why are you sitting here teaching me how to do that if that's your game? Like, you just watch those ads on Facebook and I laugh. Oh, don't talk to your sponsor until you tell, like all that stuff. I'm like, look, if you were successful, you wouldn't be looking for me. You'd be working with the people you got, helping them become successful. So there's a lot of games and gimmicks out there that are false. Learn how to discern. All I know is there's no free ride. And the people who are successful, whether they're conscious or unconscious of the law, they are applying the law correctly. Those are called unconscious competence. And then there are conscious competence, where success is what follows them because they don't know how to be any other way. They're wired this way. Some people have to learn it the hard way, but I'm trying to give you the answers in a shortcut, and the shortcuts, which is to learn from others. That's how we're supposed to evolve. You don't make the same mistakes everybody else makes. You hope that your children don't make the same mistakes you made. That's why you tell them stuff. You want them to get past where you are, further ahead. You don't want them to be a repeat of your cycle. So when we're talking about this process today, about how to go out and create, none of that's going to matter until you connect with something that matters to you. What's your vision of the future? What's your vision of this year, 2024? Can you live another month without sponsoring another person in Nikan? Are you happy with that outcome? Is that going to fulfill anything? Is that going to give you any sense of anything if you don't have somebody else on your team by the end of this week or this month or even next month? Like, you've got to make some come to Jesus moments. You got to get some decisions made that matter, and then you go for them, because the person you are, the person you become in exercising this concept with a vision that's worthy, that's noble, is going to make you the happy, go lucky, success-oriented individual that you dream of being. It's in the process that we are a success. You heard Luis Kasuga repeat something I've repeated for decades, which I got from my mentor, who got it from his mentor. The definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. It's not the achievement of a goal. It's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And I'm saying being a co-creator, being somebody who consciously creates, who constantly pushes the boundaries, who constantly strives for improvement, that is a person who is successful. Not a person who's satisfied with what they have. Oh no, you can be grateful for what you have. Never be satisfied. Spirit is for expansion. When you stop expanding, you're in the process of dying. Your spirit is for expansion, always seeking more, fuller expression of self. So be grateful for what you have, but never be satisfied. So with that in mind, guys, turn your attention to your business and what's going to make your business matter and move. And that is adding one more person will double your business in many cases. Adding 2, adding 3, that'll give you a whole new lease on life, because it's exciting when you have other people who are excited. So be the have person who has already seen that come to fruition. Go out there, spread your message as the have person, and watch who joins to make the have the reality. That's how it works. Don't go out there as the have not person saying, hey, you should join my have not experience because, well, misery loves company. No, join my have experience because it's a blast. It's fun. It's unconditional. It's vibrant, jubilant, no stress, gives me confidence, no fear, gives me a sense of pride and motivation. Can't wait for what's next. Be that person every day. Wake up that person every day. Now, one more thing I said I was going to cover, or I told myself to cover, was tools. You know, we're in the business of communicating. So I don't know how you communicate, but I use this as my business card, and it has a QR code. So if you scan this QR code, it takes you to my website. I got this from Life and Balance Tools. They do this for you. This waterfall card. Are you going to have some in-homes? What are you going to give people? You're going to have some catalogs to give them. You're going to have some. This, by the way, on the backside has a QR code. Where does it drive them to? The link that I want them to go to, the page on the waterfall. So, which you can create custom links, right? You send that information to Life and Balance Tools on your purchase of these cards, and they will make your custom QR code that drives to your web page to purchase the waterfall or whatever. So be professional. Why? Because like the rhythm of the business, the daily events and so forth, when you show up as though you're the have person, you're not sitting there scrambling to figure out what I'm going to give you. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to give you. I'm prepared to give you before I even meet with you. That's the have person. That's the have mentality, not the have not mentality. I don't go in there looking like a person with holes in my shoes trying to sell you shoes. So be the have person. Be the person who's prepared. Use the tools. Let the tools do the talking. We got some really fine tools that I think if you're not using to represent you and what you're offering, then you're giving an air of unprofessionalism. That's the have not mentality. That's not the have mentality. Go to my website, or not my website, go to my Facebook page, and let me just see if I got it loaded up. I think I do somewhere here. Excuse me 1 second while I find it. Are you there? Yeah, you're there. Okay. So this is what I posted today on my Facebook page. I don't know what you're posting on yours, or if you even think about what you're posting, but it's a good idea to start thinking about what you're sharing with the world. I decided to share this image, which was 2017. So I got this image on my Facebook page. Let's get these out of the way. There we go. Okay, so that's me on stage in Mexico City. This is where they do the show The Lion King. and there's 850 people in the audience. I wrote, this was 2017. The law hasn't changed. Are you ready for change? And I got all these hashtags. Show me a better way. Aligning with success, entrepreneurship, growth mindset, virals. Why do I have hashtags? Well, first of all, I put an image to be provocative and to say, hey, you ready to do something? Because I'm somebody who knows how to do that. And I put some hashtags because the hashtags, they mean my message is going to go using Facebook's algorithm to other people who have these hashtags associated with them. Entrepreneurship has like 13 million followers. Let me give you an example. If I edit this post, okay, so let's add a hashtag. Hashtag mom, stay-at-home moms. How's that? Stay at home. See, look at all these stay-at-homes. Stay-at-home jobs, stay-at-home mommy, 48,000. So I can choose any one of these hashtags and it's going to speak to that audience. Can anybody think of another hashtag that might be cool? Hashtag, how about law of attraction? Law of assumption, even better. Law of attraction, law of vibration, law of works, law of attraction. 5.3 million posts. So anybody who's ever posted law of attraction, there's a good chance that this is going to float in their feed. So when you do hashtags like that, you're expanding your reach into other markets. What are you posting? What are you talking to people about? What are you letting them know about? Have you created any weekend posts? Have you created any opportunity posts? Start thinking about stuff like that. Don't be alone in your mind. Share your mind with other people. Do you know that there's a lot of people out there? There's 8 billion people. Do you know, I'll bet you have a Doppler, what do they call them, a doppelganger? You got somebody who looks exactly like you. We all have that, right? Somebody sends you a picture. Hey, were you at the da-da-da-da? No. Oh, I swear to God, I thought it was you because it looked exactly like you. Anyway, point is, there's something out there for everybody, and there's a lot of people who can relate to whatever you put out. I keep reminding myself this. Somebody made millions selling pet rocks. Pet rocks. You were alive, most of you back then. Somebody made millions selling pet rocks. I mean, think about it. That really has to bend your mind a little bit, because if there's a market for pet rocks, I'm sure there's a market for Nikan. I'm sure there's a market for entrepreneurs. I'm sure, you know, the number one thing that's being searched for is entrepreneurship. So start talking about it. People are looking for what we've got. They just don't know we've got it. And you've kept it a secret really, really well. So let's get out there. Let's let
Mike,
people know. Yeah.
Can I add one final thing to sum this beautiful class up nicely? You have beautifully showed us over the years, however long you've had your class, over the years, by living well and living the life you have, that we have, I forget who coined this phrase years ago in Nika when I first joined in 06. You are helping other people escape. You're giving them hope, or helping other people evolve. And so what you're doing is showing how they can evolve should they want to. And look at me as an example, because I've been there. I've been in the high, I've been in the low, you've been all the things you've achieved. And that's your best calling card. Plus, of course, the card that you have. So I love that helping to escape. I think we need to use that more again in the new year. So thank you for all that you do.
Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. And honestly, the best reward for me is a vibrant Nikan family. That really is the best reward. I know that what we're doing, you may not think this, but I know this, what we're doing is important to the Nikan business, to the Nikan viability. Nikan exists only because we are here. If we're not here, there is no Nikan. I'm looking at my photos from Master Day right now on my Facebook feed. The photos from my team in Mexico City, who were in Colombia and so forth, they all flew into Mexico for Master Day, and they had this huge event. I'm looking at the stream of all the different leaders posting their pictures with their teams. So it's not just, here's the Nikken event. It's leader after leader after leader after leader. Their photos with Luis, their photos with their team, their photos on the stage, their photos with the rewards. They're posting their photos. I see for each of you that. That's what I hold in my mind. Not you being a part of this call, you being a part of your call. You invite me as a guest speaker to your call, and it's your peeps on the call. It's your celebration. It's your event. It's your stage. That's what has to happen here. Otherwise, Nikken has no future. You realize that you are sitting here and you're the representation of Nikken North America. I'd like to see us in a year's time have a screen of about 500 people. 500 people who want to join the Aligning with Success call because they know there's a guy out there that knows this shit and can really sell it because he's lived it. That's what I want to do for you. I want to discuss this with your team. So it's all hands on deck, guys. Let's make it happen. Let's make the end of this month meaningful. Let's make February even more meaningful with our personal experiences of the product, the new product, and aiming for March to be an explosive month. So, y'all with me on this? Is it a decision? Are we making this as a decision, or is this just a wish? How about we make a tight decision about this? Set some
Tight
real
decision.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
see how many people we can have on tomorrow night's call.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Right, and have people on, and then look for the cream to the crop to come on Thursday.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
And
And
welcome,
don't forget
Joanne.
that
It's her
Thursday
first time
is
with
the
Mike.
kickoff call.
Yes, Thursday, 9 p.m. kickoff call.
Oh, and Joanne's first
Thank you,
night.
Mike.
You, Mike.
Thank you, Barbara.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Much love.
Night.
You.
Bye. Thank you.